All right. So, I'm back and I'm hoping that all of this goes well with recording. It's been a while since I've been on YouTube here, and basically, been sick a little bit and a few times, and some other things to deal with. Home projects that, as any home, needs a lot of attention. But I do have a movie poster coming up, and this movie poster is basically it's on Jaws, and it's for the NARO. So I'm going to be doing a whoops, that's not the right pencil. There you go. Yeah, so let's go back. I'm going to be doing a Jaws movie poster for the NARO, and so it will be a week-long. It's going to be a week-long video, not video, showing. So it's going to be really cool. I'll be selling posters there. And you guys are going to get to see a sneak peek of me working on the poster. I've got an idea in my head, so I figured, I said, let me just try and flesh it out tonight just for fun, to kind of get the videos going back and to try and get going with that. As far as the ideas, yeah. Just to kind of give a little backstory, I saw Jaws when I was 4 in the drive-in. Yeah, not the drive-through theater, but the drive-in theater. You don't drive through the theaters, you drive in. So yeah, I saw it, and if you've never been to a drive-in theater, it's basically a big giant screen, and there's cars, and the cars are all parked, and they have little boxes in there that blast the noise, and then you get to see, Jaws on the big screen, eat people, and so that was kind of the thing back then, and so yeah, that was pretty much what a drive-in theater is, and of course there was a lot of cars. There was a double feature. I was supposed to sleep through Jaws. I was supposed to watch the cartoon movie that was there before, and that didn't happen. I slept through the cartoon and woke up just at the beginning of Jaws, and it took several years of convincing my dad that there were no sharks in Lake Michigan. Yes, no sharks in Lake Michigan. So yeah, let's go ahead and begin sketching some ideas out. I'm going to go with my blue one ink here. So so I had some ideas, and tonight is just going to be a rough one. I'll be kind of just going through some rough sketches tonight, but just to kind of give you guys a sneak peek and when I go through. So my first idea is kind of the idea of the captain, kind of like, it almost came to me instantly. It was probably the most terrifying scene of the movie, and it's where he's got his foot out and he's trying to keep from sliding down the boat, because the boat, how would you say it? The boat is the shark has kind of gone on top of the stern of the boat and broken through, and the captain has slid through, sliding down, and is going to slide into the shark. So that was my first thought, was like have this kind of like scary visual of the shark, and I was like, you know, that might be kind of cool to have as far as the idea of the captain in there. And I'm just going to do kind of like a rough sketch here of that and him kind of screaming the terror of. But I thought it'd be kind of cool if I was doing from the shark's point of view of him trying to eat the captain, so kind of like that. And so that was kind of my idea there. I figured I'd work on likeness later, but at least I try to get some kind of sketch going of the shark. And I know he's got that curved hat. So I figured I'd try to do that. Kind of like the idea of him like grasping to try and hold on to something. He's got those like workman boots on. Actually, I think he had more of like deck shoes. Now the memory goes back. So all this is just drawn from my imagination right now. I'd rather just, rather than trying to get caught into reference, just to kind of flesh out the idea of like the immediacy of trying to have him. And I thought would be kind of cool, and I'll probably do this on a second layer here, is like to have the sharks. I like the idea of the shadow of the shark somehow. Maybe the shadow of the shark. Like that, you know, kind of like it is like the idea of the just, you know, it's the shark. And the shadows there. I don't know whether this will visually work out, but this is just one of the ideas that instantly hit. And so I'll probably do some other thumbnails, but I thought, I said, this might actually be kind of cool. And to get this out the way it is. I'll also put the cabin there and the door flapping open. I may have the other character in there, but like I said, I'm trying to keep this just, how do you say, more or less out of my imagination, so that I kind of keep ideas fresh, and allows me to work on just kind of getting the composition without getting too caught up in details and reference and whatnot, so that it can kind of goes that way, not get in the way of, you know, reference get in the way of a good illustration. So the sun's going to be that way, so his shadows are going to be kind of like there. So I thought the idea of like him reaching out and trying to struggle to grab something as he slides down, that would be kind of cool there. Of course, I think there's a hand railing. I can't remember, but I'm going to put hand railing there. And of course, then there's that part there. And I don't know whether this will work or not, but I said, you know, this might be kind of cool to just flesh out just for a little bit. So kind of wanted to do, let's go ahead and mash that all together. So we'll just pinch that together. Ah, come on. There you go. So, just trying to clean up a little bit here. Yeah, I like the idea of just him like putting his hands out. I just remember him sliding down as a kid into the Jaws mouth, and I was just like, so, I mean, that scared the bejesus out of me. That was terrifying. And I may just try to see if we can shade that in a little bit. This may be where I kind of turn it more into a digital painting. And for the NARO, I've been kind of doing more of a cartoon style, but which is kind of something I got to explore a little bit, and I've been happy with being able to play around with, and it's been a really nice to get that feedback and allow me an outlet, because most of the stuff, if you guys know, I do plein air and I do studio painting, and I do digital painting, but my movie posters tend to be cartoon, comic book style, so I'm a little bit all over the place, so to speak. Yeah, that looks actually pretty good. We'll go ahead and I'm gonna plop that down. I don't like working with too many layers. It gets in the way of and creates indecision in a lot of times. So for me, I like the idea of just flattening the layers. Oh, if I can get back to my pen, flattening the layers and trying to just, less is more. And we'll probably have Roy Snyder's character like reaching out for him. Maybe it might be, I don't know. I like the idea of him reaching. Some idea of him reaching there. And usually on my concepts, my kind of thumbnails, I like to just keep it rough just for composition to make sure that the eye flow is here. And then I got to think about typography as well, because it is a poster, and it has to have the title of the movie, the dates, the times, and as far as, of course, the NARO Cinema, and if it is a they have if it's a movie that's like I think they have it's called a Flashback Friday or Flashback movie. It's not always on Friday, but flashbacks. And at that point, they also have the special event where they serve different things, and so I've got to make sure I have room for all of that, and it doesn't look crammed. Where most of the time, I like to incorporate it to where it looks part of the poster, and that's why I like to do hand-drawn fonts. So that's no different than here. Is I am thinking about how I can plan the hand-drawn fonts in here as well. So all of that's going up in here. But yeah, if you've got a question, just hit me up in the chat. I'm watching it. And I like the idea of the shoe just kind of peeking out before it goes into the shadows a little bit. I'll try and clear that up a little bit. clean that up. I mean, but yeah, I just want to capture that terror of this final seconds before he slips into the mouth of the shark. There's so much history behind that, and as far as what Steven Spielberg wanted to do with that movie and couldn't, I don't remember all of it, but there definitely was a lot of technical problems with the shark, so much so that they opted for less is more. And I, you know, take it from somebody who's watched it in a theater at 4 years old, it sure was more. It scared the bejesus out of me. So we'll just go ahead and kind of create this. I don't know. I want to say he had deck shoes. Now that I remember, and deck shoes don't have a heel, which would make sense because, you know, if you've been on the water at all, you do not wear, but you don't really mess around with boots. So try and clean up a little bit of the. Yeah, I know he had a beard. I was just trying to capture that expression of terror. The eyes are too big and cartoony, so we're gonna kind of tone that down a little bit. Like I said, I do like comic books, but I've got to make sure the face looks, you know, somewhat decent. Well, that went nowhere. Yeah, I can't remember the name of the captain, but if you remember the name, go ahead and type it in. I can't remember his name, but he was an interesting actor as far as the captain. And I want to say that, you know, he did a lot of other acting, but this was really kind of his most memorable role, and I don't think he was really keen on doing it at first, if memory serves me right. He may have not been keen on it, but yeah, thank you. Do you happen to, Partly Cloudy, do you happen to remember the name of the captain? I cannot remember the name of the captain for the life of me. I don't want to take a break and look it up, because then, you know, but if you happen to remember, it'd be great. So I like the idea of this shadow here, but one of the things that kind of like this idea of him, you know, anticipating that, you know, that anticipation of total terror that you're about to drop into the jaws of the shark. It's like facing death. And of course he didn't die right away either, because that shark sure took his time chomping on him, which was like, can you imagine 4 years old watching this chomp chomp chomp? I was like, oh, I couldn't tear my eyes away from the screen, but it was so scary. I wanted to look away, I couldn't. I didn't know what to do. It's funny because my kids watching, it's like, oh, it's so fake. How could you be scared, Dad? How could you be scared? That's so fake. But, you know, I'll figure out like I said, this is just really kind of just to flesh out the idea of what I'm going for. I'll deal with likeness and whatnot later. But I definitely want this to, you know, try to have that terror. So, you've never actually watched Jaws? Oh my gosh, you should totally watch Jaws. Yeah, it's great. It's a fantastic movie. It holds up well, and the fact that I think you don't really see much of the shark till the end, so I'm kind of like giving away part of it. But you know, I don't think that me telling you that the captain gets it in the end is not gonna, you know, I won't tell you anything else about it, but it's so scary. My kids did not think it was scary at all. They were just like, no, not that scary. Because they thought it was fake. I mean, they're saying, you know, they're just, yeah, I think, you know, I think it's just how kids are nowadays. They're just not as scared as we were back in the day. But then again, you know, it's Quinn. That's the captain's name. Quinn. Yeah, Quinn. That's right. Quinn. I knew it'd come to me. That's the problem with it. Yeah, so Quinn is the captain, and like many others in the movie, he meets probably the most grisliest demise out of all of them, and yeah, I don't know what your age range is, but I was 4 when it came out, and it was terrifying. I wasn't supposed to see it. I was supposed to watch a cartoon and then go to sleep in the back of the car. That didn't happen. I don't know how that was really kind of a rational thinking, but, you know, but how would you say, parents. The whole kind of thing was, you know, there was a lot of things different back then that parents did that, you know, seatbelts were optional back then. Yeah, we didn't necessarily think about that stuff. We could go for, well, I don't know about you, but I used to like go for miles away from my home at 8 and, you know, on my bike, and no problem at all. But then again, different time. So I don't think there's a shot of this at all. I'll have to go and review, but you know, this kind of like idea of the scene is burned into my head a little bit. And that's kind of the reason why I like to work off imagination when I first do these, rather than doing reference. I find that imagination frees me up to at least try to get some things, how do you say it, the angle that my mind wants to draw, versus trying to do a different angle and then, you know, kind of like, oh yeah, that's the scene. But then to kind of, in selling these posters, oh, it's funny. If you've never seen my work before, I'm a little all over the place. I do fine art oils, and I do, plein air outdoor painting. The fancy word for outdoor painting is called plein air. It's a French tech term for outdoor painting, but I do a lot of those. And I do a lot of just studio painting. I can't remember if he had a plaid shirt or not, but in this one he's going to have a plaid shirt. Actually, his sleeves were rolled up too, so we'll give him some hairy arms. But yeah, that's the gist of it. I'm a little bit all over the place. I don't stick to just one genre. So, but I would say is that what you're seeing now is something that I don't really have a lot of on. I'm particularly known for doing. I've kind of saved this for like the NARO posters for the theater. So this is for an upcoming Jaws week at the NARO, which is our local art house movie theater, and they're going to be showing Jaws for the entire week in May. So I don't have too much time to do this. I mean, I usually I have less, so, but I've got more time to finish this one off. So I'm not too worried. I may have to extend that background a little bit better, but yeah. And so we saw the posters, but it really, these posters help promote the art house, because you know they're out, their art house how would you say, theaters, they don't really show a lot of the big movies, and they're not like AMC. It's an independent, locally owned art house, and awesome staff, and just it's fun. And I love the NARO theater because it actually has a balcony which you can watch from as well, which is really cool. So yeah, that's a little bit about myself. That, and I teach commercial art during the day at a trade school. So yep. All right, so that looks pretty dramatic there, but so we got the nose of the shark, and I'm thinking about typography now, so we'll swap to white. And so I'm wondering if I could get like maybe yeah, we could get like an outline. Or maybe we could go all the way to the top here and then just kind of go. Then go down. No, I like the idea of having Jaws there, but as you can see, I'm running out of room here. That wouldn't work, so it's a good idea. I think it may be best if I go and let's see if we can figure out how. Maybe I need to, maybe Jaws can go down here. Oops. But then I can't fit the S, so I may have to shift this over a little bit. So I'll think about that, but at least that's kind of my idea, is like, well, having Jaws, but I could go over here and I could put it here and just have. Almost there. It's almost there. It's like if I could fit the S there, and then it would say Jaws, like kind of Jaws. Maybe you guys don't see it, but that's kind of how my head works. Something like Jaws there, but maybe bigger. I don't know. That's at least an idea. We'll see. And we'll go back to here. So try to create some dynamic. his arm's really going to be more up there. So see about that. Oh, of course. Yeah, I'll go ahead and merge it in for now. I'm not sure how I'm going to do Roy Schneider down here. I like the idea of having, I can't remember his name, but I like the idea of just him like reaching out, trying to grab him or something. I don't know, his position's all wrong, so let's just delete all that. We'll figure it out. Sometimes you just gotta start over, so we'll just, I think it was only one door that opened up and it was more of a porthole, so we'll just delete it. Like, yeah, there we go. We'll have the porthole. I think it was like one of those porthole openings. Oh yeah, it's hard not. Yeah, I just go out there and do it and put it out as best thing advice I've got from, you know, just put the work out and not worry about it. Whether people like it or not, I mean, just, you know, I think it's funny. You mentioned as far as for an audience, just put out the work, just put out the work, and just, you know, I don't really know anybody who's like doing these YouTube videos and making a living off of it. It's funny, I see these people who are like, you know, be successful at YouTube, and you know, all they're doing is marketing YouTube. They're not marketing anything else. Or if they do, I mean, there are some people, but it just, I don't know if, I just look at it this way as like, I can, my tips, my advice for you is if you have any, so Partly Cloudy's asking, any tips for you for how to do art for yourself and not for an audience? Just draw what excites you. Don't worry about what people are going to like or not. And I look at this as, since I do sell my paintings, and I do sell my digital art, it's just advertising. That's it. And, you know, and sharing the process. I like this. I kind of had a diatribe about this, and it always seems to fall on deaf ears. But I think that YouTube takes the most time, but it's probably the most rewarding out of it all, because what I like about this these videos is that you can search them, and you can find them and search more content. Like if you like this video, you can go and check my past work, and it's not hard, and I've done that for artists that I like, and it works really great. But when you go to the others, I mean, who's got time to scroll forever down through all the other crap that, like, on Facebook and Instagram? It just makes I don't know, I just am not a fan. And it takes forever to find stuff. I find myself in, how would you say, doing less with the Meta platform than ever before. I have a newsletter that I do, Substack, and they've started some video stuff too, but I'm just not quite sold on it as far as you know, doing anything else. I don't know if, does he have glasses? I can't. No, Roy does not have. Roy Schneider is the character who is the police officer. He's at this part. And then there's the cage. Oh yeah, we got to put the cage over here because that cage has like been busted open. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. Welcome to my world. I would say that you know, just put your work out and just do the stuff that you like, because if you're just trying to do the likes and everything else and whatnot, it's I couldn't do it. It's like, oh gee, what does the audience want me to paint today? Or for you, and you're doing animation, which is a lot of work. You know, I would say is that, you know, do what you want to do. And I think the one thing that's great about YouTube is that there seems to be room for everybody. But you do have to put some work in if you're trying to make the platform like you're trying to make all of your audience and reach a bunch of people in a shorter period of time. I'm just of the opinion that, you know, this is just a platform in which I can share my work and people can find me. And there are some restrictions, of course, like any other platform, but it seems to, at least if I'm going to put in the work, you know, I get at least a little bit rewarded from it. You know, that I've had videos that people are still checking out from like 5 years ago, which is fantastic. Try that on other social medias where they discover your work from 5 years ago. It doesn't happen. So I would say that would be my main reason of why I'm this year really trying to focus on doing the YouTube, because it's, you know, more rewarding, I would say, and people can see the stuff. I don't know if this is what he looks like. This just looks like a guy. He should have his hand written out more. I don't know. Yeah, that hand is wrong. Let's get rid of it. Bye-bye. He should be reaching out like here and probably down a little bit more, and then his hand's going out like this, but he can only reach out so far because it's foreshortened. No, let's try there. So partly cloudy. I hope that was a decent answer for you. I'm just coming back after, you know, almost, let's say, January, February, March, April, May. Yeah, 5 months of no activity. As I said at the beginning of this video, I had a lot of I was sick twice, and had some injuries, and then house stuff. So you know, when your house needs repair, you gotta fix it. So yeah, that's kind of, you know, how do you say, life happens, but you know, it's okay. Good news is I'm back drawing. So should his leg come down here? No, because then it's not as dynamic. See, all the things I think about is like, you know, how can I make this dynamic? And I may change this, but at least this is kind of the idea of, sure, the shadow should be there. I'll try to think about shadows a little bit to help. I don't know, you know, try to think about shadows to make it work. I like this cage thing. That's really cool. Oh, I'm feeling much better though. But thank you. Yeah. Long story short, just last week I had COVID, and that was not fun. First time I had it, no symptoms, nothing. It was fine. I didn't even know I had it. I just happened to test because I was going back to work after the holiday break, and I wanted to just make sure. And I had, but then the second time, I felt like doo-doo, and I did not feel good. And sure enough, but I feel so much better now. So I'm really glad that it was just, you know, a week long and that was it. It really wasn't even a full week, so I can't complain. So we're gonna make this all. I don't know. There was like maybe there was a crank on there that broke, but I don't know if I can fit that on. But we'll see. Let's have ropes and everything kind of like straight all over the place, because that's the thing about a deck. There's ropes everywhere. There's lines everywhere. I don't care what kind of boat you've got. There's lines everywhere. And then of course then there's that canister. There's this canister. We're gonna put it right here. I think there's a couple air canisters, so we'll put that there for now. If you're watching and you've watched the movie, then you know. You see these oxygen tanks. I think they're oxygen and nitrogen. I can't remember. They're a little important towards the end of the movie, but those that haven't watched it, you just have to watch it. So I think that's good there. We'll put a little bit of a frame around here. Oh, and there's a ladder here. Let's put the ladder. This is why I like to draw from memory, because if I draw from reference on these, then I kind of let things kind of get in the way, and I end up copying a scene that the director and the cinematographer have put together, and then I'm just kind of aping that, and I mean, there's certain parts where I might take a little bit, but I'll compose everything, you know, just sort of to have the look, or you know, just like a figure, and then I put my own scene in. I like those, but I'm really not a fan of trying to get things. I would say my one poster that I probably did not, I really kind of did. I really kind of followed, how would you say, relied on more photo source material was Star Wars, and that was just because I think I was still kind of like, that was like one of my first, I think it was like my second poster that I'd ever done for the NARO. And the first one was kind of like a one-off just to fill in for somebody. A student of mine who was actually doing them all, and he's like, hey, do you want to fill in? And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. And I really had such a blast on it. And I did a cartoon one, but then the Star Wars one I did kind of a more realistic, and it was fun. But then, you know, as I got offered more, and they asked if I wanted to join the group, the artist collective that does the posters, I was like, you know what, I like doing these cartoon ones. This is the only format where I can kind of get away with that, because like there's nowhere else to kind of do my cartoon stuff, and I've always wanted to work on it, but you know, I end up doing stuff that, you know, is gonna, how would you say, kind of, it's kind of stuff, the stuff that helps you make money that I can sell. Like I can't really be on my cartoon stuff just for cartoon's sake. I really can't. That's not working there. It's just hard marketing. It's like, oh, I spent hours on doing this really cool cartoon, but it's just not gonna sell. When I do these posters for the NARO, they kind of do, and they take on a life of their own. And So, you know, and the best part about it is I love meeting people at the beginning of the movie. Like I did my poster for The Thing, and what was really cool about that was I was in line at Kroger, and it's only 2 nights before the show, and I happened to see this woman. She had The Thing movie sweater, and I was like, I've never seen that movie merch before, and I just said, hey, are you a fan of The Thing? And you know, she's like, yeah, it's my favorite movie ever. And it's like, I'm happen to be doing the NARO part. She goes, yeah, I'm going. And what was kind of a cool story was that, you know, she got there late, the poster sold out, but I was able to get her. We'd taped promo posters on the door, and I happen to remember that. And so I told her, I said, wait right here. Got the poster off the promo, and then I was able to give her a poster after I'd sold out. And so that was really cool. But I mean, you know, making those connections with those fans and making new fans is really fun. Yeah, I know there's some fans that are purists and whatnot, but you know, you bring up a good point, angry fans. You know, I've seen other Star Wars posters that the NARO's done, and they look really cool. But you know, they're definitely the artist style. But then when I look at like, say like Dark Horse Comics, you know, they really try to draw the likeness of each of the characters. You know, one for Luke and Leia, and they all look like the characters. I shouldn't make it look like the pipes were busted here. There. Maybe that'll look good. I'll have to tighten up and clean that up there. You know, yeah, I think it was more of me trying to be like Drew Struzan. If you know who Drew Struzan is, it was just really me trying to be like, you know, like, or you know, the great illustrators. So I was like, oh, let me just see how well I can put one of those out. It was fun. I was happy about it. It was a good one, but you know, maybe I could put teeth in here, like silhouetted teeth. I don't think that would work well, but let's try it. Sorry, my brain, like I think and then I talk and then I change what I'm talking about. So sorry about the rambling there. Well, let's see here. If we could do, oh. Yeah, that makes no sense. That's just the dumb idea. Isn't this the thing here? So let's go back to what I was doing before. But yeah, this is a really cool movie. I think it was interesting how the animatronics of the shark just really did not work out at all. They couldn't get it to do anything that they wanted to. It would break down. It looked fake, and oh yeah, I want to put a little life preserver thing here because. There we go. Put that there. No, let's put that. I'm going to put that up here. I don't think there was a window in the back. No, memory. I don't think it's necessary. If we do, we'll put it here. We're going to put that the little circular life preservers. That looks better. Let me just if we can kind of. There. Give some shadow there. some more lines and stuff hanging out. I'm gonna have the, I think I should have the ladder extend up out of the poster. So I'm looking at this. I'm gonna just lean back a little bit and take a look. Review anything else, anybody else stuff. Yeah, okay. Yeah, if you're just joining me now, if you have questions, just jump in on the chat, and I'll be happy to answer what I can or give my opinion or non-opinion. Yeah, I'd be interesting if I could do, let's go ahead and put something bigger. Maybe we should flex in on trying to get, like, how could I get the jaws? Well, let's try this. We're gonna, let's try this. We're gonna do, I keep thinking this is Photoshop. See if I can, this will work now. Oh, there we go. Okay. So now we'll see about, okay. Now we'll try to reverse jaws in here. I think I'm having a hard time right there. Let's go back. I'm just going to take out more than I thought. So let's see here, AWS. Okay. So maybe if we take out this here, and then we can work our W this way. W, and then okay, I like that. That might work. Might need to go put a little bit of white above it just to clean it up, just to get it to. And this is kind of what I had in my head. You know, usually I like to work on thumbnails before I start doing stuff. But this one, I'm sitting, I just woke up. I happened to just look on my Facebook and see that, our Facebook group, and I happened to see that this was up for grabs. And it was between this and Top Gun. And I know my son loves Top Gun, but I thought about it and I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I've got anything idea wise for Top Gun that I could really just nail right off the bat. I wasn't sure, but then as soon as I said, well, what about Jaws? And instantly I was like, this came to my, it's like this came, and I was like, I got an idea that would be terrifying. I don't know if this will work typography wise, but this is kind of what I was thinking about, you know. And of course, let's see here. Let's duplicate this and let's throw this in red, because that would be kind of funny. Let's go select. Ooh, Now that's kind of interesting, but it's not portraying a shadow. So, things that make you go, I don't feel the shadow on that. That's the only problem. Yeah, does not feel like a shadow. That feels like a shadow. I don't know. These are things I'll have to work about, but we're at, oh, okay, we're almost at an hour now, so that's about what I was hoping to do. But yeah, that's kind of where we'll see what happens. I'll noodle around with this. But obviously it's I would love to have some kind of red in here, maybe just a little bit. I don't know. No, it's just even there. That's not registering as a shadow, and that's definitely nice concept. Just execution doesn't work. So I like the shadow. I don't know. Maybe a red outline might work. Let's try that. Just for funsies. Am I grinding on the right layer? Yeah. I don't know. I don't feel like this one's working either. I think like the idea, I don't know, maybe reduce the opacity on that. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not really feeling it right now, so, but I feel like I've got something here that might be visually interesting. Maybe there could be just something, I don't know. When I do painting, one of the things that we talk about is the directing the eye, and always have some kind of like hint of red somewhere. Oh, this would be kind of cool. Maybe if I just had some splotches of red, kind of, or just have some teeth marks. No, I like the idea of some splotches, maybe some splotches of red, kind of going down his pant leg. I know, it's viscerally. Yeah, it's you've got to explore every option, know how badly it might really be. So I don't know. It may not. But yeah. So the other things are just to kind of let you guys know what I'm thinking about here. The other, I've got to figure out where I'm going to put times. So, you know, I might want to have to, I'll put this on a new layer. You know, it's like I've got to conveniently, I like to put things in a way that makes sense. So I might want to put like, you know, narrow here, and then I could have like cinema right there, kind of like going along the door, and then I could have like, this is the kind of things that I really enjoy, just putting the time. So like I'm gonna guess this is 9:15. No, it won't work there, but maybe I could put 9:15 along there, or you know, something like, I don't know. Those are the things I think about. You know, how can I make this, you know, fun? So maybe I could just have like here. I don't know. I don't know. These are, I didn't like that either. The red, it's just not happening there. I like the idea of this whole blood splatter thing. There's some spray paint stuff. Let's just see about putting some. No, that's just, bleh. That's gratuitous. I'd rather have it more like sharp pencil. Let's try flex. No. Yeah, it doesn't work. Oh well. Sometimes it's best to keep things simple. So, before I head out, let's go ahead and just do a little time lapse, just to kind of let's recap and see how this all came about. So we'll go and replay, and let's go ahead and hit time lapse replay, and let's watch the fun. So this was the Jaws movie poster, and here I am, just going for the gusto, right out of my imagination, trying to figure out how I could work out what I initially saw. And yeah, sometimes these ideas work. I'll probably do some thumbnails as well to just try out other ideas, but this is the one that kind of just like, when I was deciding to do between this one and Top Gun, I was like, okay, this one I have an idea on. Top Gun, I was just thinking, it's like, I could draw F-14s, but then what? You know, all I could think of was like F-14s and motorcycles and or a pilot's helmet, and I just couldn't think of anything dramatic like this. So this was you know, I think for me it's got to be can't be just a good movie, it's got to be something I have ideas for. So I think, you know, this might be interesting. I like this, and I think this is kind of more of the style. If you'd like to see more of my work, you can go to my website, liquidmethod.com. Follow me. You can also sign up for my mailing list on my website. I'll sign up for, I try to put it out weekly. Also, you can find me on most of the socials under liquidmethod.com, or just Liquid Method, I should say. Yeah, so I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and this little hour of doodle jam to figure out my next poster for the NARO, which is Jaws. And yeah, so thanks again for hanging out with me. I appreciate Partly Cloudy for the great comments, and wish you luck on your YouTube experience as well, and drawings and animation, something I just don't have patience for. But yeah, all right guys, thanks again. I'll be doing some more live streaming and some pre-recorded stuff, and so I will see you next time. Thanks again, and catch you guys later. Have a great night. Adios.